Welcome back, folks. In this video, short one, I just want to go through some of the trades that I executed yesterday. Let's start with the first one. Okay, this one here, the Asia short trade. This is quite an easy trade. Let me go to the chart and talk about this. So when you have, basically you had folks, retail traders trading this long at the open of the market, okay, and this move down is to immediately trap traders who have try to trade the breakout. Okay, so this move down, I wasn't looking for shorts, but I was looking for a pullback. But then I got my short setup, okay, which is basically this move up right at 9 p.m. So that's where I've shorted, okay, and targeting these equal lows back into this order block. Okay, that's basically the premise of the trade. Okay, so you can see it was quite straightforward, quite easy. Okay, this is that pump up at 9 p.m. You can see the time down there. Okay, that pump up at 9 p.m. and that's pretty much where I have entered. I got stopped out on the first lot, and then I've just re-entered. Okay, so that's important that you don't get afraid when you're stopped out. If you still have that bias intact and your setup is still intact, then think about a re-entry. Okay, so nice trade back down to the equal lows. Okay, in the Asia session. Now, if I'm looking for the market to go higher, for example, if I'm looking for the market to trade back up into those daily highs, where we haven't taken out those equal highs on the daily chart, then I'm looking for a dump for the pump. Okay, so I'm expecting a move down, as I said in my video posted in the early part of the day. Let me see, where did I post that video? It was, yeah, there it is there. Okay, so you might have missed it because it's just small, doesn't have the YouTube thumbnail there, but that's the video. Go watch it, make sure you watch it, because it talks about in advance this move down that I was expecting. Okay, and actually highlights these exact levels that I traded this entire move down into. Okay, that's the whole purpose of me providing those videos to you in advance of my thinking, and then trading in alignment with my directional bias. Okay, so it's all for your learning experience. That improves your learning, especially if you watch the video, then look at what I've journaled as part of my trades executed in alignment with that bias, and then you study the charts and go back and look at what I've highlighted, okay, in my journal, okay, in my video. That's how you're going to learn. Okay, now the next trade, if you look at this, we've got a dump down. This is the manipulation hour of London. Where's it coming into? It's coming to this bullish order block. Okay, and that's also a fair value gap on the hourly chart. Okay, so that's, I've taken a long on that move down. That's also journaled here. I journal all my trades. Okay, I've marked this one up for you so that you can go back and study the charts. Okay, this was a very well executed trade. There's that 1 a.m. London manipulation, right? That first hour of London is typically the manipulation coming down into a 15-minute fair value, 15-minute order block, bullish order block, and the hourly fair value gap. Okay, nice displacement, and then I'm just waiting for this to move back up to these equal highs. Okay, so I'm always looking for the dump for the pump. Okay, or the pump for the dump. So at these key times, if I see the market moving rapidly fast, dumping down to a key PD array, I'm going to be looking at that PD array to try and identify what's the market reaching for and where's the market going next. And if I see equal highs up here and a nice move down, then with high expectation, I can expect that, with high probability, I can expect repricing higher to take out liquidity that's been engineered at these highs. So that's what this trade was about. I had 3 lots of 5-1. Okay, I took out 2/3 of that trade once we got back above these equal highs. Then I left a runner on that I closed later to take out the Asia swing high, which is here, okay, at 2471 is where because I wanted to close the gap as well, where I took that off. That was later in New York as part of the news announcement. That was this trade here. So this was, you can see, it was entered at 2462, so down at these lows somewhere, okay, and closed up at 2471, which is as part of that news announcement. Okay, I did do a couple of trades in the New York session as part of this expectation that the market's going to be moving up, because again, we're getting that dump, right, for the pump. Just seeing that the market having this dump, I'm expecting the market to go back up, at least back to where anybody had already shorted, okay, or at least back up to this bearish order block, and that's where the majority of my positions were taken off. So if I go back any longs, so if I go back to this one, you can see it's 2471, back up to the bearish order block on a 15-minute chart, okay, and the other longs that I had also in the New York session, I haven't journaled them. They were also just same, expectation from these lows here up to this high here, 2471, which is that 15-minute bearish breaker. Okay, I did post a chart here looking for the market to reach for equal lows down here. Okay, we got pretty close to that. This was what after the news had been announced. Okay, yesterday 8:30 we had news announcement. If we look at the charts, let's go to a 1-minute chart and try and find where we are. So that's around that. So there we go. So we got very close to that level, right, that I mentioned. That's the move down that I was expecting. I was expecting to take out these lows, which are from the London session, right? These are the London session lows. We got very close to there, just within pips of that expectation, right, from here, 2470 down to there. That's what I was looking for. We got down to here, 2459, I think we got down to, right down to there. So I do expect that we will take out all this liquidity. Okay, the question is, at what point, if we go back to a 15-minute chart, do we move up before we come down, or do we come down and take out that liquidity before we move up? And I think we will come down and take out that liquidity, Asia and or London, before going up. I do think we need a pullback. Okay, let's jump into a 1 hourly chart. I do feel that a pullback is needed, right? So You know, if we look at what's going on, let's look at a 4 hourly chart first. Right now, what's going on, we've got a bit of consolidation, okay? Now, this is pretty typical. You have consolidation just below highs, okay? That's very normal. And typically what happens is when you have this consolidation, then you get a nice displacement move up through these highs, okay? So these are those daily highs that, you know, the daily equal highs that the market needs to reach into. That will be the draw in liquidity. The question is, do we get a pullback first, okay? I do think a pullback is needed. We're quite overbought. So, I'm not going to be taking any longs at this point unless we are lower. Okay, so even if this turns out to be a nice long setup, I'm not going to be taking that. Just too high, right? We're at the high of the week at the moment. Even though this will be a draw on liquidity, my expectation is that, you know, we need to have a pullback and move a little bit lower into discount pricing before these highs. But I could be wrong, that we could take out those highs. Either way, I'm not looking for any longs at this point in time. I'm only looking for shorts. Okay, so in particular, if we don't take out this liquidity that I've mentioned down here, okay, this liquidity down here, the lows of yesterday London session, and we kind of start to move up, I'm going to be looking for shorts targeting these levels, okay? So, but I do think we'll take this out in early morning trading before any moves higher, okay? So monitor the charts. As I said, to really get the best out of what I'm teaching you here is to watch my videos, look at the trades that I journal, okay, the things that I put on Twitter, and you've got to look at this on your own chart. You've got to look at what I'm pointing out, what I'm indicating, and go back to your own charts. The trade that I did do in New York, I just want to touch on that, okay? It's on a 4 hourly chart. I took a few longs in London that I closed out in New York. I haven't journaled them. I might journal them later on. And they were based on something I was discussed previously. Okay, this is a 4 hourly gap, right? Now, you have an initial candle that comes in, a 4 hourly candle, and a lot of retail traders will buy long in this 4 hourly fair value gap. And you can see we had a reaction. I wait for that first 4 hourly candle to be stopped out. Okay, so I always wait. If I see a 4 hourly candle and it hasn't closed the gap fully, okay, I don't take my entries from there. Okay, not in that first 4 hourly candle. I always wait for another 4 hourly candle to come and take liquidity. Okay, and you can see this is the candle that took liquidity, and I entered once that was done. Okay, this here is an inside bar, very important, because this typically, when you have the high and the low within the previous bar on any time frame, works really well in daily time frames, you can expect a large move. Doesn't say what direction. You've got to have a directional bias. I was directionally biased to the long side because this is the dump. Okay, Asia London dumping for the rest of the day to be pumping. Okay, so this is where I also added some positions on the expectation that this is the dump for the pump. Obviously stops under that low, very tight stops. Okay, and then the news announcement has taken us up. Okay, so have a think about that. It's similar to the trade I did down here. Okay, where again this was mentioned to you on a video live before it even occurred. We had a fair value gap. This candle coming to the fair value gap, and I said wait for a stop, you know, wait for another 4 hourly candle to take liquidity, and then look for repricing higher. So similar to that, which yielded a nice move upwards. Okay, so I hope the video is useful. I will now talk with you in a future video.